You think you know something inside out, but what if you don't? Let's explore that little illusion.
All right, let's start with a really simple test. I want you to try and draw a bicycle. Nothing fancy, okay? Just a simple sketch showing how all the parts connect and work together.
So, how did it go? It seems pretty simple, but a famous study showed it's not. In a Yale study, a whopping 40% of people pretty much failed this simple test.
And get this, most of them drew something that was totally impossible, a machine that just couldn't work. Some drew chains going to both wheels. Others drew frames that would just snap. Seriously.
So what's going on? Why do we mess up something that feels so incredibly familiar?
It has a name. It's called the Illusion of Explanatory Depth, and it's a huge concept.
Here's the core idea. We constantly mistake just being familiar with something for actually understanding it.
See, there's a huge difference between knowing what it does and knowing how it actually works. This is the real trap. We think we're experts on things we can, well, only use.
And the bicycle example, it's just the tip of the iceberg for a startling truth about our minds.
We don't have a high-def photo of the world in our heads. It's more like a blurry sketch.
Our brains are kind of lazy, you know? They just store enough info to get by, not every detail.
So, this creates a false sense of competence. We feel like we get it, even when we don't.
The point is, the bike isn't the complex part. It's our understanding of it that's the illusion. Now, this totally seems like a flaw in our wiring, right? Like a bug in the system. Well, what if I told you it's not a bug, it's a feature?
To get why, we need to go way back. It's all about our history as social animals. It comes down to this idea of a community of knowledge. Basically, we're designed to be smart together.
The illusion happens because our brains just can't really tell the difference between these two.
Back in the day, survival was a total team sport. You really couldn't go it alone.
Nobody had to know everything. One person made spears, another tracked animals. You get.
You just had to be an expert in your piece of the puzzle. That's it!
So our brains started treating the group's knowledge almost like our own external hard drive.
And guess what? This exact same psychological blur is still happening right now.
Let's use an example you're probably holding in your hand, your smartphone.
Just using it makes you feel incredibly smart and capable, doesn't it?
I love this quote. You're basically leasing the smarts of thousands of engineers.
I mean, let's be real. You probably don't know how to build a microchip, right? But this illusion is super necessary. It's a hugely efficient shortcut for our brains.
It lets us outsource the heavy thinking, so we don't get totally overwhelmed and can just function.
It's that old saying, right? We're all just standing on the shoulders of giants.
The trick is, our brain is often convinced that we are the giants.
Okay, let's talk about a little trick your brain plays on you every single day.
Take a simple zipper. You use one all the time, right? But how does it really work? I mean, you can see all the parts, so your brain just goes, yep, that's simple.
But actually, the how is a super complex engineering puzzle. And this assumption, it's a fallacy. It's called the interface fallacy. We confuse a simple-looking surface with what's really going on underneath.
We're visual creatures, so if we can see it, our brain just assumes we get it.
Okay, and this is where it gets really interesting. This isn't just about zippers, it's bigger.
Take the economy. We see the headline. That's the simple interface, but miss the complex stuff behind it.
It's the same thing with the weather. We just see rain, not the massive system that made it happen.
Or geopolitics. We see a conflict and we think the why must be simple. It never is.
But why? Why does our brain even fall for this trick in the first place?
Well, the answer is just one word: efficiency. Your brain is a shortcut machine, saving energy.
Yeah, this quote kind of nails it. Our brains just care about the what, not the how.
So it sees a cause, sees an effect, stores that, and then just deletes all the messy details.
And that super helpful shortcut, well, it creates a huge blind spot in how we see the world. We start believing the world is way more predictable and simple than it actually is. It's a trap.
Here's a great way to think about it. Imagine you're just looking at the ocean surface.
We see that simple, visible surface, just what's right there in front of us.
And we totally miss the powerful, complex currents that are running everything underneath.
So what's the big takeaway here? Always question that simple surface. Look for what's underneath.
Ever wonder why the people with the strongest opinions often seem to know the least? Let's explore that.
There's a great quote for this: extremism thrives in the shallows. It really gets to the heart of it.
Now, this isn't about how smart someone is. It's actually a cognitive bias that pretty much all of us have.
It's called the illusion of explanatory depth. We basically think we get things way more than we actually do.
And the gap between what we think we know and what we actually know, yeah, it's often huge.
In politics, this gets dangerous. It makes complex problems seem easy and turns disagreement into a personal attack.
You know the type of argument, just do this or just do that. It ignores all the complexity.
So how do we break through this? Well, psychologists found a surprisingly simple way to do it.
The secret is to stop asking why people believe something and instead start asking them how it would actually work.
Here's the experiment. A person states their case. Then you ask them to explain the step-by-step mechanics.
And right there, when they have to explain the how, they start realizing the huge gaps in their knowledge. Just look at this. Their confidence absolutely plummets once they're confronted with the actual details. It's wild.
So not only does confidence drop, but their extreme views actually become way more moderate. It's incredible.
So it turns out the antidote to all that certainty and rage is just complexity. It shatters the illusion.
And look, this isn't just some cool theory. It's a real tool you can use for better conversations.
So why does this matter for you? Well, it helps you question yourself first and have better, less hostile chats.
See, the Oracle of Delphi, a huge deal in ancient Greece, made this pretty wild claim.
But here's the thing. Socrates himself said he knew absolutely nothing. So what gives?
To figure this out, Socrates started questioning all the so-called experts around Athens.
He talked to everyone, politicians, poets, craftsmen, the people who were supposed to have the answers.
And he realized they all had the same blind spot, a really big one actually.
It's called the Illusion of Explanatory Depth. Basically, we think we know way more than we actually do.
So what made Socrates so wise? He was the only one who actually knew what he didn't know.
This really shows two totally different ways of thinking, being a knower versus being a learner.
Being a learner means you're okay saying 3 little words that are surprisingly hard for most of us.
This is what intellectual humility is all about. It's not about being dumb, it's just about being curious.
And look, in a world that's just full of fake confidence, this is a genuine superpower. And you can build this superpower yourself. It really just comes down to these 3 steps.
So the last question is for you. What are you ready to admit you just don't know?